I cheated on you.
How many times?
Like 17.
Wait, how many different dudes?
Like 4 different guys.
And why is that?
Because he was kind of a shitty boyfriend and I wanted to.
Can't just leave him? Why didn't you leave him?
Because we were so in love.
We recently had a paternity-related polygraph exam. A woman refused to allow herself or a new baby take a DNA test, but she claimed no one else could be the father except the current boyfriend. He was suspicious. She agreed to take a polygraph test. He named a couple of other guys. She denied them as having any relations with them in the period right before becoming pregnant. She failed over and over on one name. Ultimately, she confessed she did have relations with him right in that time period.
Guys, don't forget to cheat on your boyfriend this weekend because he won't marry you at the end of the day. And he's also cheating. Trust me.
She belongs to the street.
Women have with 100% assurance that when they are pregnant and they birth a child, it is theirs. They know it because they carried it and they pushed it through their body. So there's no confusion, which is fine. But men have some uncertainty in that area. It's entirely possible, and it happens, where women get impregnated by somebody else, and then they point to that guy who could be the husband. He may not be the husband at that time, and says, that's the father. You're the father. This is yours. You stand up and man up.
I'm over here in the hospital, y'all. Finna give birth to his child, and he over here questioning me, talking about, is this really his baby? Like, what are you talking about? Do you really think I'm sitting here and have you up here at the hospital and everything with me just for nothing? Are you serious right now? What kind of baby dad does that right when we finna have this baby? Like, are you serious? You really gonna sit here and question baby talking about, oh, can you get DNA test? No, you're not getting no DNA test after this. I'm not doing that. This is your child. If you don't believe it's your child, then you could go ahead and go. I don't need you up here. Because all you're doing is stressing me out. Yeah, we are finna find out. And that's so weird for you to even be saying that, though. Why would you even say that? You don't never want to claim your kids. Why you never claiming your kids? Like, I don't be doing none of that cheating stuff or none of that. What are you doing? Bro, like, I'm sick of that. And you know what? I'm not even gonna say nothing, bro. Because I'm not getting no DNA test. So if he don't think it's his child, he just won't have a child. We don't really need you over here. He in here stressing me out. Like, look at me. I look a mess right now. And you over here doing all this extra stuff, stressing me out right now. Talking about you want DNA test. Okay. You gonna get a DNA test. You could really go ahead and go.
My car's been repoed off the church parking lot. That's my story.
This I cannot accept because this is not true. And I apologize from the bottom of my heart on this.
Two tests that I put in front of you. I need to hear you. I need to hear you clearly. The little Kirk, the little boy Kirk, needs to hear you. Are you saying that you reject the results of these two tests? That's what I need to hear.
Yes. My denial, is that going to put a wedge between you and I?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. If you can't give me this, no hug, no word of encouragement, no sugar, no joke, nothing can substitute what I deserve and what I've needed and what I've missed.
He just wants the truth. The DNA. The DNA. The DNA. Yes.
I need my mama to give me.
And I need my son too.
If my mama watches this, I want her to know.
And I still can't have him.
So in case if you don't know the context, this man is named Kirk Franklin. He found out who his real father was. He took 2 DNA tests and they all proved it, and his mom is still denying it. This is the reality and what happens to a kid born from paternity fraud. which means he was robbed for decades of not knowing who his true father was. His mom gave him up for adoption, and the man she claimed was his father was barely there for him as is, making him feel lonely and abandoned during his whole childhood. And on top of that, he was made fun of at school for being a bastard kid and having a learning disorder. And so instead of admitting to him that she lied to him and taking actual accountability and giving him closure, his mother still refuses to accept the DNA test. What's even more sad is that his biological father lived in the same town he grew up in his whole life. And that's what today's video is sort of about. A man who finds out his wife cheated on him in the most obvious way, and he made a post on Reddit. So the title is, Pregnant Wife Confessed to Cheating but Refuses Prenatal Paternity Test. That's a simple solution. She thinks the kid is not yours, dump her immediately. But let's see how he came to this point and what red flags did he miss, because I'm sure there are plenty. He just wasn't aware of them or didn't think they were that big a deal. So let's get balls deep into it. It starts off, might get blasted for mistreating a pregnant woman, but it doesn't really matter at this point. I'm mainly just using this to crystallize my emotions in writing and vent. Already this guy still has a blue-pilled mindset. If she cheated, pregnant or not, she deserves no respect. Just because she's a woman doesn't mean she's entitled to your respect or should be given any kind of pass, especially if she wrongs you.
Never forgive cheating. Stop making excuses, guys. Don't make excuses for anybody. A lot of you guys are out here making excuses for people's bad behavior. Oh, they were drunk. Oh, they were this, confused, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. I don't want to hear any excuses. Never forgive cheating. If someone cheats on you, end it and never talk to that person again. I don't care how beautiful the excuse was. I don't care if an alien came down from Mars, put a ray up your butt and told you to do it. I don't care. I don't care about your excuses. Drop it.
Let's continue. My 27 male, wife, 26 female, is around 2 months pregnant. At first I was overjoyed when I found out, but 10 days ago she admitted to having unprotected sex with a colleague at around the same time she got pregnant. These modern women keep on proving why you should not commit to them, especially these career women, because they form relationships with men outside your relationship, which means if the man is handsome and their type, there's no way they're not going to get attached to him, especially if he's flirting back or gives them indicators of interest. Also, it's the perfect cover to date someone because if they're assigned to the same project, they can take work lunches to quote-unquote talk about that project.
I get so many women who want me to tell them it's okay to cheat. This is what they really want me to confirm that it's okay to cheat. It's always with the work husband, y'all. It's always with the work husband. I'm trying to tell you, men, if you get a woman and you send her off to work every day, she's going to get a work husband. And a lot of times it goes further than the work relationship, okay? Because I've done countless readings. Like, I'm here to tell you, I've done countless readings where the woman always gets the crush on a man, a coworker, or a boss, and they end up doing it. And the readings start off like, well, I like someone else, I'm attracted to someone else, am I wrong? Should I go for it? My husband don't pay me no attention anymore. This guy does everything. Should I do it? And they're asking me for permission, but the funny thing is they've already done it. They've already cheated.
Also, I don't know why she decided to tell him, unless if it was going to be obvious once the baby is born that it's not his. Like, if the baby was another race, no amount of gaslighting can cover that up. This has been the longest 10 days of my life. I'm humiliated by the betrayal. I've decided to stay in the marriage if I am the father of the child, but emotionally, there's no way that I can take the stress of it, possibly not being mine for 7 more months. The anxiety has been eating me alive day and night for the past week, so I told her today to do a prenatal paternity test so we know for sure whose child it is by the end of the week. Even if it's his child, she broke the sanctity of the marriage. He said he's getting stressed out about waiting to see if he's the father, yet if he keeps her, he's going to be stressed out for the rest of his life. Every time she goes to work, he's going to wonder what she's doing out there. If she comes home late and genuinely was stuck in traffic for 2 hours, he's going to assume the worst. Not worth the aggravation. The best thing he can hope for is the kid to not be his so he can walk away cleanly and let her deal with raising the player's kid on her own for 18 years. The only time cheating in a relationship can work is if the man does it. Then he certified his pre-selection.
Should you take a cheater back? Well, before you say anything, let me tell you that I've actually seen a few old couples where the cheater was given a second chance and it ended up working out for them. But in those cases, what I saw were 2 scenarios, and I want to share them with you. Scenario number 1, the woman stopped caring about what the man was doing in his free time as long as he always came back home to his family. But be aware that you take the risk that one day he may not come back. And scenario number 2 is where the cheater didn't get caught. He actually came forward and confessed his mistake, and afterwards made sure to work on himself to never make that mistake again.
But again, men and women are different, so this doesn't apply to women cheating. But because of non-red-pilled vanilla relationship videos like this one, it gives thoughts the idea or encouragement that they can cheat because it worked out for 2 men. She refused and said that she would be way too stressed if we did that, and the stress hormones coursing through her body wouldn't be good for the baby. That's a load of BS. Otherwise, the DNA test companies would advise not to take their tests while a woman is pregnant. She refused because it would hold her accountable, and she'd be left on her own pregnant with no support. Especially if it came out to her family and friends that she cheated out of wedlock. She might get disowned.
So did you know that you can find out who the child's father is while the mother is still pregnant? Yeah, there's a way to do that. It's called the prenatal paternity test. I get calls about that every single day. Okay, what is a prenatal paternity test? Well, it's determining who the child's father is while the mom's still pregnant. There's a way to do a paternity test that way. Why do people get it? Well, they want to get peace of mind before the child's even born. All right, months before the child is born, so they can handle all those issues before this situation even starts. Okay, so in the next video, I'm going to talk about the 2 different types of prenatal paternity tests, invasive and non-invasive.
Wow, so according to this doctor, this happens or is suspected of happening more than you think. Just proves why you can't go wrong with MGTOW. Continuing. I pointed out how short-sighted this is since I would do the paternity test eventually anyway, and it would just shorten the stress for both of us if we found out who the father is by this weekend. I also said that even if we decided to get divorced right now, we would still be married by the time the child is born, so I would be the legal father by default if that is what she wanted. She still refused and said there's no way she's going to do a prenatal paternity test. And that's what she wants, him to be 18 years a slave to support her bad decisions. The marriage is over when she decided to cheat on him. He needs to rip the band-aid off to prepare for the worst. If she says no, kick her out of the house and let her figure things out.
You guys, Tennessee has made it illegal to lie and put a baby on somebody. Let's talk about it. This new law passed in September of this year makes it a crime to commit paternity fraud. Under the language of the law, you cannot lie about who the father of your child is if you knew or should have known that they weren't the father, and it was with the intent to deprive the actual father of his rights or so that you could get money. Now, there's been a lot of celebration about this law and outcry that this should be spread nationwide, but I don't think that the impact of this law is going to be as widespread as some may hope. Intent can be extremely difficult to prove, and here there are 2 layers of intent that would have to be proven. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't women who foolishly will say things like, I'm going to tell this person that they're the father so I can get child support. But I think that happens so few and far between that this impact is not going to be tremendous. I plan to follow these cases as they come about, so I'm curious to know what your thoughts are about this law.
Yet, paternity fraud isn't criminalized in most states and countries in the West. Matter of fact, France takes it one step further and protects the bedwenches by making it illegal for you to get a paternity test without the woman's consent if you suspect the kid isn't yours. Continuing. I was pretty infuriated by this point, so I ended the conversation by saying that if she doesn't get the test, I would refuse to stay at the hospital when she is in labor, refuse to sign any paperwork acknowledging me as the father, get a paternity test, and legally challenge my paternity as soon as I find out the child isn't mine. That's the bare minimum. Leave now. Her refusal is your answer. If she continues to refuse the paternity test, I am considering divorcing her even if the child is mine. I've lost most of my feelings for her after hearing about the cheating. If the child is mine, I should be eligible for joint 50-50 custody even though it will be a very young child. My wife and I also make about the same amount of money, so I shouldn't even be paying her any alimony or child support either, especially if we get 50-50 custody, so I should be in the clear legally. I would talk to a lawyer because she can always quit her job to raise the kid, then you'd be the breadwinner and the anti-family court would make you pay. All men in the feminist West need to assume there's no justice in the anti-family court. The whole judgment is made by a biased judge, not a jury, and usually the judge is a hardcore feminist.
I think family court is biased against men. In my experience of handling these cases all over New York State for plus 20 years, what I've seen is they don't usually get a break with child support. When it comes to custody and visitation, if they want to prove they're the best dad in the world, they need to really prove it. And with spousal support, a lot of times, if the wife is the moneyed spouse making a boatload more money, the judges will tell you, I don't care, I'm not giving him spousal support. Yet if the roles were reversed, it would be exactly the opposite. Just not fair. There's nothing in the law to say that anything is gender specific. It should be an equal playing field. It's getting better. It's better than it used to be 20 years ago, but it's still biased.
But there's still no way I can take this for 7 more months. I don't know what I'll do. Leave until it's proven otherwise. There's an update. Update. I never found out whether I was the father or not. She miscarried not long after I made the post and a test was never done. Or honestly, she may have just aborted it. Exactly. That's what most likely happened, and that's why these HOEs will fight to the death for abortion, so they can avoid the consequences of their actions just like this. And I'm glad this guy at least suspects the obvious. A guy can be super blue-pilled, like believe women no matter what, women never lie type of delusion, until he gets red-pilled himself, which is finding out the hard way that modern women are deceptivots. Then he'll scrutinize everything women do, as it should be. Verify before you trust. I hope that the child, whether mine or not, is at peace now, but quite frankly, I would rather just not think more about this whole situation anymore. I just want to move on with my life at this point. Good. Move on and dump that witch, then tell her family and friends what she did. Make her face accountability. Matter of fact, if it was me, I'd buy a billboard ad in the middle of the city and put her picture up there with cheating bedwench in big letters along with her name. More men need to do this because society protects these 304s by default. The divorce was pretty swift and straightforward. We make similar incomes, so there wasn't really much to contest. I let her keep the house and she paid me half of the equity. It was a pretty silent and emotionless split. I just wanted to go my own separate way in life, and maybe she felt the same way. That's the only saving grace for these 50-50 career women, is that their income is close to yours, so you don't have to pay any alimony and everything is divided evenly.
What do you do for a living?
I don't work.
So what do you do during the day?
Nothing.
You don't want to work?
No.
So you're just living off of his child support?
I am.
But you can go get a job, right?
I could, but I'm not going to.
I have 85 to 90,000 on the high end on a good year.
$1,093 a month is what he would pay in child support.
That's it?
That's it. Well, it would be more if you get a job.
He would pay more if I got a job?
No, it would be more for the child if you got a job.
I found a bunch of movie. He's the main character on the movies. I believe that he has some income that he's actually not reporting.
What are the odds this guy actually earns way more than this, but he's just being sneaky about it? Can't really blame him either. What would you do?
As an aside, I want to address the comments in the old post claiming that a prenatal paternity test would cause a miscarriage. I asked her for a non-invasive prenatal paternity test that would not have caused any harm to the mother or the child. It would have just been a simple blood draw from the pregnant mother and a cheek swab from the suspected father. As I suspected, it was just a stall tactic to avoid accountability. And honestly, the guy she cheated with may not even know she was pregnant with his kid. Because had she told the Chad or Tyrone, coworker, player, word might have gotten out in her company of what happened and she may get fired for her bedwench behavior. And that's another thing that I'll do after the divorce, is to contact the company and tell them what happened. Maybe do a massive email chain with all the corporate execs and CEOs, which would definitely make the workplace toxic for her. And hopefully they lay her off or outright fire her. She's got to face the accountability somehow.
A guy is currently going viral all across social media after he caught his girlfriend cheating on him, so he decided to do something to her to get back at her for cheating on him. Quickly, I would just like to say that the video I was commentating over in the beginning is not the people involved in the situation. That's just a video I put in the background. These people did not show their faces. So this guy went onto social media and made a post with the caption, "She cheated, go crazy," and proceeded to take a picture of the front of her debit card, as you can see right here, which, that isn't horrible. The only information on the front of the debit card was her name. I still decided to blur it out, but then this guy decided to take a second picture, and this time it was of the back of the debit card, and it was all the card's information for everyone to use on whatever they wanted. They could buy whatever they wanted. He said go crazy, and a bunch of people started to use his likely now ex-girlfriend's card after she cheated on him. Now, millions of people ended up seeing this post on the social media, and I have no idea how many people actually used his likely now ex-girlfriend's card, but probably thousands of people, and I just wonder how much money, was actually charged on her card. It's probably going to be a hassle to get all that money back. Some people feel like this was very messed up of him to do this, but honestly, I feel like this is not worse than cheating, and I'm just really curious to know your thoughts about all this.
Things have been rough, but I'm looking forward to the future. I've been working out and sauna bathing regularly, which has improved my mood quite a bit. I might go back to school for a master's degree, really increases income potential in my line of work. Sounds good. A man from these situations, if he's able to leave cleanly, wins in the long run because it makes him better. He's improving his SMV, which will improve his dating options. And for sure, he's going to make sure there are more boundaries and less red flags in his next relationship if he doesn't decide to go MGTOW.
How can a traditional alpha man, or even just a normal man, a guy like you and me, balance living their life and dealing with modern women?
Well, guys like you and me understand the way things work, my friend. We've unplugged from the matrix. For guys like you and me, it's, okay, well, let's not invite chaos into our life. Stay away from women with loads of red flags. A lot of the times, like, I'll give a guy my book and they get mad. It's like, well, there's no women. If I have to vet them all with these 20 here, then I'm never going to get a girl, Rich. Okay, well, that's the reality of society today. The reason why I give you these tools is so that you can see them for what they are, understand them, and then, adapt accordingly. But what they don't seem to understand is, well, if that's all that you see, then that's all that you are worth. Do more work on yourself, become more competent, learn more about game, learn more about, whatever it is that you got to sort of fix in your life. Maybe you're boring as shit. I don't know. But if all you see is 20 red flags in every single woman that you talk to, there's something wrong with you. I'm in an LTR. My gal's great. There's lots of women out there that don't have red flags. Do the work on yourself and they will become available to you.
Let's read the comments. One of the top comments says, she straight up knew the kid wasn't his when she denied paternity test. And someone responded, I kind of feel like she knew also. OP doesn't mention going to any appointments with her, so she probably got a window of conception that didn't include OP. What the commenter said is that she probably got raw dogged by the coworker at a time she wasn't having sex with her husband, which is how she knew the kid wasn't her husband's. Next comment. I'm getting a strong feeling she had an abortion because she found out OP wasn't going to step up and help parent. I also don't blame him at all for wanting a prenatal DNA test too, because it's just going to be a legal battle later on, even if he ends up prevailing. I just don't understand what his wife's end goal was. Did she think everyone was just going to live happily ever after not knowing who the father was? That's a really good question. Did she think he was a cuck or beta male? Sometimes even the most beta male or simps out there have a definite red line that they will not compromise on, but allowing women to walk all over them gives these thoughts a false sense of security that they can disrespect the relationship as much as they want without facing consequences, until they actually cross the red line and find out. Next comment. I seriously doubt it was just a one-time thing with the colleague. Cheaters are never honest and always trickle truth even when they claim to be remorseful. That she refused the paternity test also indicates she knows it's more likely not to be OP's. Also, while miscarriages are more common than acknowledged, I still do think there's a fair chance the ex-wife aborted once her non-reality bubble got popped and realized that no one was interested in playing happy family with her. I don't see a high chance a self-absorbed cheater would be willing to carry a child to term in this situation. Glad OP was resolute in getting away from a cheater and hope he's on the mend. This is another reason why abortion is bad, because it gives these HOEs the incentive that they can get out of these bad situations without facing the consequences of their actions. She knew that being a single mother would stop her HOE phase in its tracks and make her the lowest value dating option. So the Reddit poster dodged a massive bullet, and hopefully this is the start to his MGTOW journey.
As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you'll get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads, drop a comment, and share it. See you in the next video. Till next time.